Hello everyone to a new video. So this is going to be my official review of Hogwarts Legacy. This is going to be spoiler free as possible. So my first couple of points I want to talk about will include no spoilers. The gameplay you're about to see is from one of the battle arenas. So besides spells that I will use, there should be no spoilers. If you do not want to see the spells I use, then just listen to audio. But there will be no gameplay spoilers besides that. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about that definitely isn't spoilers is the bad of the game. Now, the game is pretty good. I do really enjoy the game, but it does have a few issues. So, if you're watching this, I assume you've probably watched some other people's videos or just read things online, and there is some glitches with the game, but nothing too bad. So me personally, I do have a few of the glitches where some of the collectibles will not count towards my counter, or they will not count towards my counter, but I did still get to collect them. So it has a small effect on my trophies, but not a major one. So for majority of people who aren't completionists, that really shouldn't affect you that much. If you are a completionist, it does affect you. Now, to be fair, the game is not even a month old, and there already has been an update that had fixed some issues. So these are things that can probably be corrected in updates. How long that will take, I do not know. But the developers seem to be working on it, so I can't say that it will be a thing that will be lasting forever. So besides glitches with collectibles, there is a drop in frame rate at some times. I have got a drop in frame rate, and I've gotten some slight loading when going through doors. I am playing on the PS5, so people do report bigger issues than that on the old gen PS4, Xbox One, and PC. PC is a different issue on its own with some of the issues that it has. So those are issues. Like I said, they're working on them, so I believe they will be fixed. I do not believe it'll be anything that'll be permanent. And so far, I've only had like two crashes in the game, but that only happened to me after playing for several hours. Um, and one of those I do believe was kind of my fault for trying to fast travel and then speed away, and I think I was just doing too much at one time. So the game has its issues, but nothing game breaking. I do hear reports of some people having save issues. So I'm not saying there's not worse issues out there, but definitely nothing too terrible. I would think the majority of people will have a little issue playing the game and beating it. There's really, besides save issues, for some people, and if you're not a completionist, really beating the game should be no issue for you. Okay, so that's pretty much the issues covered without going into any spoilers. So now I want to talk about the look of the game. So the animation, when it is not stuttering or drop a frame rate, does look very beautiful. Me personally, I like the way the game looks. I like playing at like night because I think it looks better with all the lights, and I do think it makes it easier to find collectibles and such. But when you use your spells to find things, but the game does look really beautiful from the flying to the battle to the animation, the effects for the different spells. Um, all things look very good. So, um, you get to use powerful spells. Um, everything just looks great. Great inclusion is that for a lot of time, not every time, but a lot of time when you use a spell, you speak it, which kind of makes sense because they do that in the Harry Potter universe. That is a thing, so it makes sense for your character to do it in this context. Some people might find that annoying, other people don't. That's all up to you. Um, so that's how the game looks. But how does the game play? Okay, well, without getting into any spoilers, You probably have heard, if again, assuming if you watch this, this is not the first video you've watched on this, but this is an open world game taking place in the Harry Potter universe about 100 years or 100 something years before Harry Potter's time. And you play as a fifth year who just got enrolled into Hogwarts, and through certain events, without spoiling anything, you have to stop some bad people from doing some bad things with some interesting abilities. It's pretty much the simplest way to explain it without saying anything that might spoil anything. Um, so that's that's pretty much the story, but the gameplay is quite amazing actually. So I personally, when I do a review like this, I like to either beat the game, or if the game's really big, do majority of it. So in the matter of this Hogwarts Legacy, I've beat the game. I've done all the side quests. I've done like 98% of the collectibles. There really is not much more for me to do, pretty much. I've done it all. So I would say with all of that, the gameplay is great. Between the battles, some can get a little tedious or repetitive. I mean, you're going through a cave or something, and your fifth time fighting a giant wave of spiders. Yeah, but that's open world RPG. You're used to that. If you're used to Skyrim or Fable or games like that, games people like to compare this to, you are used to endless battle, well, not endless, but you're used to big battles with a ton of enemies coming at you at different waves and such. You're used to that. If you're not used to that, um maybe that experience would be a little jarring for you. But for most that are used to open world and RPG style games, that's nothing really new, and I don't think it's super aggressive here. You'll go through some areas and there won't be that many enemies. Or something you can do in the game is stealth, which is not always the easiest or the most it's not always the easiest thing to do. I mean, you do get spotted pretty easily. So, but you can stealth. You can stealth a lot of encounters. The game will force you to be seen at some point, so when enemies come around. But for most part, you can stealth a lot of sections. It is really cool. So if you like to play stealthy, you can also do that. And your stealth is actually very powerful in this game. It's not always a one hit KO, but if it's not a one hit KO on a stronger enemy, it does do a lot of damage. And there is spells you can use and other things like potions and the such to increase how much damage you do and how effective it is. And how much you get seen or not. So that those are like the mechanics of the game. So like combat and the such, it can be fluid. I'm not showing the greatest example of combat because I'm trying to talk and then do this and not do this arena too fast. Um, but yeah, so the combat can be fluid, and when you get more spells, when you watch a people's review or the game, you watch the trailers and you learn about all these spells. Yes, there's a lot of spells, and there is a lot of combat spells. But you really can get into now. See, you do need to use specific kinds of spells to destroy enemies that might have shields or the such, or deflect such attacks, right? But besides that, you really do get to choose how you want to fight, and there's many different ways and spell combinations that aren't exactly covered in preview trailers and people's review. I mean, there is great combos where you can lift someone and then smash them into the ground or push them away and the such, right? There's great spell combination. There is, you can customize your spells, switch them on and off, which it can be a little jarring at first, admittedly, but you can get used to switching out your spells. You can unlock different spell wheels so you can have different spells configured at once. I mean, my configuration is not even that efficient for combat because I only have one wheel dedicated to combat and my others to, exploration and puzzle solving and the such. But there is customization there that you can do what you like and focus. And obviously, there are some spell combinations that are better than others for certain enemies, right? But there is that customization there that you can choose what you want. It's not just, oh, one spell is the ultimate and you should just use that, and it's boring. It's what you want with the spell cooldown and the such, and and everything. Especially if you wanted to go into the unforgivable curses, which is something you can learn in the game. Um, so, you take that route as like a dark wizard, and those spells really change up your gameplay. So yeah, the combat is a lot. What would I compare it to? It's definitely not button masher by any choice except for maybe your basic attack. I I am making it look like I really do play this game badly. I do hate spiders though. They can be annoying in the game. Um, I don't know. I don't have like I've seen a lot of people compare the game to like Fable and such, and I have played Fable. I would say, oh man, I really don't know what to compare the combat to. I can't think of a game off the top of my head, but you can see here, you get different choices in your spells. You can upgrade them. They can do different effects after they're upgraded. Flying around on your broom or a magical creature is always fun and cool. Get an objective. There's plenty of fast travel points around the map, so you're not forced to travel large distances once you discover those. That's your standard open world RPG thing. You go somewhere, you have to unlock the fast travel, and then you can use it. That type of mechanic. But they do give you a lot because the world is pretty big and it is pretty full. There is a lot to do, and um, you have to pretty much almost get 100% completion to get max level, which is very interesting. Some people won't like that, but others probably won't mind as much. Um, but yeah, there's without really going into more of the spoilers about how and what you can do and the spells you can use, without going into spoilers. Sorry, that's the best I can really tell you. So that's pretty much all I can really say without going into spoilers. Now, I do want to talk about characters. So I would say I've probably named the important things you need to know if you were or were not going to buy this game. So I want to go into more spoiler stuff. I want to give you the chance to leave if you want. Okay, so I want to talk about the characters. Now, I love the side quest. Pretty much every side quest feels unique when it comes to the characters, the dialogue, the voice acting. All sound great. Um, it is unique. It's not like other games where it's just fetch quest here or there. I mean, a lot are like that, but the reason behind them and the character, makes up for it. Um, and then your choice of how you can interact, while not always a large amount of choice, you can choose to either be nicer or meaner, and that does have an effect on side quests, their outcome. And some of those, when it comes to your companions, do have an effect on what happens at the end of the story. So the side quests are really interesting to do. I would recommend checking all of them out, or most of them are great. Um, as for characters, though, your companions specifically, um, you get several different companions that you have quest lines for, and you get decisions in those. I would say the one with probably the most decisions comes down to your companion in Southern House, Sebastian, because you get a couple of characters revolved around in that quest line, and it is very interesting. It is not personally my favorite, but it is probably the most interesting of the side quest lines for your companions. The other ones, you don't get a ton of you get choices, but I don't think it has as much outcome as say the one with Sebastian. So personally, very cool. My favorite is probably the your companion Poppy. That side quest is really good. You talk about saving beast and poachers, stopping poachers and the such. That is really good. I like her background. That's a really interesting to me. Or Natty is really interesting too. That's a really good quest line as well. I really enjoyed this. Like I said, Sebastian's is not my favorite, but it's still very good. Um, so yeah, and then another thing is that what ties into a lot of side quests is the room of requirement when it comes to customizing it, upgrading your gear, um, and capturing beast, which is something you can do in the game, and you do get a lot of selection of beast, and each beast is important because they give you different materials which you can use to upgrade your gear, which is something great and can make a big difference when it comes to using legendary gear in the late game. So that is something very useful that maybe not everyone's gonna like, but um, some people would really enjoy it. As I've seen online, a lot of people really do love tearing for Beast in any game, but they do love it in this game. You get some very interesting beasts like a phoenix, unicorn, a thestral, which I always found really interesting because if you watch or read the books for the Harry Potter series, you know about thestrals. That's really cool. Or you know how rare unicorns are, and everything, and I mean, it's so cool. Um, but that's a lot. And then the story, what I find interesting is the choices you can make is that it's kind of unpredictable. What I mean by that is that I've played a lot of games and you're always expecting either a twist here or there, and the game surprises you by either not really having a twist or it has a twist you don't expect, which is really interesting because at sometimes I find myself really being able to guess what happens with a character or such in a game, and it's a little less predictable in this game. It's not as bad as some other games, which should totally like outline, oh, this is going to be good, this is going to be bad, oh, this person is going to betray you, kind of thing. Um, but so I really do enjoy the story. It does take a little bit of time to get through. I've probably got like 70 hours in the game, and that's trying to be as proficient as I can. And like I said, I'm almost done with it all. Uh, I got collectibles left. But yeah, so the story. Now, I want to talk about character customization because I've seen this a lot online. People get really into big character customization, right? And this is not really spoilerish, but some people wouldn't like to hear this. So if you get to this point in the video, it's okay to talk about it, I believe. Um, okay, so as many will know, I mean, I would hope you would know if you haven't got the game, is that you can customize like your wand core, how your wand looks, and obviously your appearance in the game and all that. So what I like is that when people do character customization, and it's not something I always do, is they try to copy characters, right? So they try to take maybe characters from other franchises and make them look that way. The character customization in this game is not so specific, like something like Neo, where you can change the ears or the appearance in such detail, where you can do stuff like that. But what you can do, and what some people love to do and have done for years, is sort characters in other franchises into their respective house, which is something you can completely control in this game. Or the different wand cores say something different about the wizard, down to like the length or the flexibility, and stuff like that. Um, People have always done that for years. Like, oh, this character belongs to this house. They would have this kind of wand, stuff like that. So you can really do that. And I did that myself with the character I have. But there's something really interesting you can do. And I really do enjoy the amount of customization when it comes to the clothing, the wand, your broom, your different beast. It is really cool. So I find the customization really interesting. Something that I didn't really want to cover because it would be really spoilerish is if you're playing PlayStation, you have access to the Hogsmeade quest. I really find that a letdown of a quest. You don't get it until probably availability like maybe 80%, if not more, into the game, which at that point the shop, the only thing it does is you can sell it its gear and it gives it like I think 10% more, or no, 5% more than other stores. At that point in the game, you're making so much gold and selling so often that as long as you're selling your gear, you should be fine. I think at that point I started having around 49,000 um 49,000 galleons, right? And I already bought like everything in the stores, all the different ingredients, not ingredients, but like the different blueprints to make different potions and grow different plants and the such, right? And then customization items for my room of requirement. So it's kind of a letdown. And while the quest is interesting, the reward for it is not really. I feel like I said, a lot of people like to compare this game to Fable, and I really feel like Fable, if they give you more customization options, let you decorate your shop, change the colors of some things, maybe decide what you sell or don't sell, would be really interesting for the game. I think it would have added way more playability to it, just like the capturing beast is supposed to. That's supposed to be something that people, oh, I'm going to do this for hours, after the game. And I feel like that would have been an easy thing to implement and a very interesting thing. So the quest is kind of a light letdown. I know people before launch were freaking out, oh, why does PlayStation get this exclusive? Well, it's not even that great, to be honest. The quest is interesting, but it takes you probably like 30 minutes, and it's not even worth it. And by the time you get it the available in the game, you're probably not going to need it. It's just another thing to check off in your list, and just really just not great. Um, I mean, I don't really know what else to say about it. That's my opinion. Some people will feel different, but I mean, we've pretty much talked about it all: the gameplay, the characters, how the game looks, how it plays. I even went into some kind of spoiler level things. But that's all I pretty much gotta say. I apologize for this video being so long, but I think I went into pretty good detail, and I think this is a fair assessment of the game when I was able to pretty much finish it. I don't like when people give like their early reviews and they've barely played the game. I feel like many games, especially something like this, you can't play 10 hours and then tell me how it plays for the rest of the 90 hours. It's not fair. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for watching if you did, and I'll see you guys in the next video. But until later, bye.